So this video is on Pizzazz 16.3, and you'll notice that it has distance and midpoint in it, which is fine. Just do the distance ones first, and then if you get done, go back through and do the midpoint, because you're already done midpoint and this is just now a review for midpoint. So we're going to focus on distance. Notice that they just says find the following, and it just says AB. But we know that when you read this aloud, it says the measure of line segment AB, which is the distance between point A and point B, which is really the same thing. When you find the measure of a line segment AB, you are finding the distance between these 2 points. So if they ever ask you on a test or something, you know, what's the length of this side of the triangle, you're going to be using a distance formula, because that's how you find the distance between A and B, or the length of line segment AB. So these are distance questions, as are these, and these are as well in the rest of the page. So really the only midpoint questions are these and then this, but they're very easy, so we can do those too. Okay, so let's just start with the first one, which is letter T. And we got -1, 2, and 7, 8. Okay. I'm going to write out my formula. So I'm going to have x2 minus x1 and y2 minus y1. I'm going to write the formula at the top of the page, like the regular formula. Let's write that. X2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So write that at the top of your page. That way you can look up at it whenever you need it. So I'm going to highlight I'm going to color code like always. I like the color code. So this is going to be my oranges, and this will be my yellows over here. Okay, so we always start with the second point they gave us. So 7 comes first, minus -1. Then we have 8 minus 2. Now we just actually do this work. Don't forget that when you have two negatives back to back like this, you have a minus and a negative back to back, they actually cancel each other out and you get plus plus. So 7 plus 1 is 8. Then you have 8 minus 2, which is 6. So we're at the point now where we have 8 squared plus 6 squared. Well, 8 squared, 8 times 8 is 64. And then 6 times 6 is 36. Now we're going to add 64 plus 36 is 100. But just to make sure, 64 plus 36, it is 100. So now I'm going to make my square root a little smaller, because the square root of 100, well, the square root of 100 is actually a perfect square. So we're not going to have any decimals to deal with, but we'll still put it in our calculator. Maybe you already know what the square root of 100 is. It is 10, because 10 times 10 is 100. So the distance between those 2 points is 10. At the bottom of your page, you'll see all of the answers. 10 is one of the answers, so that's good. And we're going to write the letter T right above it, because that was the letter associated with our problem. Let's do this one. Let's do O. Okay, so we're trying to find the length of line segment BC, or in other words, the distance between point B and point C. So let's see what the coordinates for B are and see what the coordinates for C are, and that'll be our 2 coordinate points. Okay, so B is 1, 2, 3, and then up 1. So -3, and then up 1. C is over to the right, so positive 1, 2, 3, and then down -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So +3, is that what I said? 1, 2, 3, yeah. +3, -5. Let me make sure that I counted right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay, all right. I feel confident that my coordinates are correct. So I'm going to highlight. I have my my numbers. And I'm going to draw my formula, or my shell of a formula, let's say. Those are both minuses. They're kind of all wonky looking, but that's a subtraction, okay? So always start with your second number they give you. 3 minus -3. Then I got -5 minus 1. And that's that. All I gotta do now is just keep plugging and chugging. Don't forget that 2 negatives make a positive. Now notice that I have 2 negatives over here, but they're not side by side, so I can't change that. This is going to stay the way it is. Only when they're back to back like this. So 3 plus 3 is 6. And then -5 minus 1 is going to give me -6. But I'll show you. -5 minus 1. Enter -6. Okay. So when you enter in your calculator like 6 squared, +6, you can use the parentheses, it's fine. You're going to get 36, okay? When you have a -6, you have to make sure that you use the parentheses, because if you don't, you're going to get different answers. It just so happens that -6 times -6 is also going to give you +36. But if I hadn't put it in parentheses, look at the difference. It says it's -36, but that's not true. It's a +36. Both of them are positives. You're not going to get any negatives past this point. Like your answers, when you square them, they're going to change into positives. And the reason for that is because distance can never be negative. So make sure if you're getting negative answers after you've squared, these, then you're entering something wrong in your calculator. Now we have 36 plus 36, which is 72. And the square root of 72, I have no idea, because it's going to be a decimal. And it's 8 point, okay, now this is good, because notice how it should be 8.4, but that 8 is going to bump that 4 up. So we're going to bump it up to be a 5. 8.5. Okay. And let's find our answer. And that was O, right? Yes. 8.5 is going to be O. And let's do how about R? Let's try R. And then the rest, I'll let you try by yourself. And if you have any questions, you can always ask me. Okay. First thing we need to do, well, they want to know the distance between ALX and MSP. So from here to here, how far is that? So we have to give this coordinate points. So I go over 1 and up 1, 2, 3. So ALX is going to be 1, 3. And I'm not sure what MSP stands for. It's not Mississippi, because Mississippi's down here. But I don't know. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there it tells us Minneapolis. The Mall of America. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we have our 2 coordinate points. And I'm going to highlight the X's and the Y's. And I'm going to create my shell. And I'm going to start with the second number 8 minus 1, and then 6 minus 3. This one looks pretty clean. It doesn't look like it's going to be hard at all. So we have 7 squared plus 3 squared. So far, so good. 7 times 7 is 49, and 3 times 3 is 9. Now, what's 49 plus 9? 49 plus 9 is 58. So I have the square root of 58, which I don't know because it is not a perfect square, and it's going to be a decimal. So the square root of 58, enter. And it's going to be 7.6 because that 1 is not going to bump that 6 up. So 7.6, let's see. Oh, okay. So it says each square of each side of the square represents 200 miles. So we're going to have to multiply our answer by 200. So 7.6 times 200 is 1,520. And maybe we shouldn't have yeah, that's what it is. So we shouldn't have rounded yet. We should keep all those decimals and then times it by 100, because the answer is 1,523, not 1,520. So, okay. All right, well, good. That we should have read that. I should have read that paragraph. Let's read it now, actually. Okay. The grid has been superimposed over a map of the United States. Each side of the square represents 200 miles. The airports in Los Angeles, Minneapolis, and Miami are marked. Use the grid to estimate these air distances. So 200 miles. Once you find your answer, don't round it. Then multiply it by 200. Then you should be able to find your answer down here. Once we didn't round it, like if we kept all of the decimals and then times it by 200, we get 1,523 point and some change, okay? Well, this is the answer that's there. 1,523 miles. And that is R. Okay. So I want you to try some by yourself now. If you have any questions, raise your hand and I'll help you out. But make sure you're trying for yourself first.